Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday's Nasdaq Futures live stream. See, we got Crab in here. Robin's here. Good morning. Hey, Robin, I'm not sure I saw you with a message in Discord. If you can't find it, um, go into my info on YouTube, and you can find my email there, and you can shoot me an email. Just go ahead and replace my midnight open and my 8:30 open here. Here we go. All right. All right. So let's quickly jump in and start going. I realize I'm a couple minutes late, so try to be fast. All right. We'll start right here with the news event from this morning. So we see down here on Friday, all the news was being announced at 8:30. We had hourly earnings, NFP, and unemployment rates. So let me go ahead and refresh. Right below expectations, above expectations, and below expectations. All right. So a mixed bag here. We'll see what that means for the charts in just a moment. Okay, finally, we did get a close here on the US dollar. We did get a close below that level I had marked off. It had traded below, and I was waiting to see if it would close, and it did close below. And so now, even with today's candle, I traded back up to the level that was broken, tested off of it, and it is still trading lower. We are getting a retracement at this time. We had a low. If I drop down to maybe, okay, so during the news announcement, it created its low, retraced back to roughly the level that it's at right now. So this hour hasn't really moved. It's an inside range, but it moved up a bit, moved down a bit, and it's still trading in the center here. Let's get back up to the daily, and let's grab ES. Remember yesterday, ES did make a new high, new all-time high. Yesterday was a heavily bullish day for both ES and well, actually all the indices, unless she was around at around 415 where we saw that big drop yesterday. I don't know how many people were still looking at the charts at that time, but that's what happened. So far today, we've even taken out that high from yesterday, so made a new all-time high. We'll check out Nasdaq in just a moment to see if the same thing occurred there. And let's get down to the hour. Okay, heavily bullish last hour after the news announcement. That's when the new high was made. We're now retracing back in the zone. We'll see if it wants to just retrace into roughly half of this candle, which would looks like represent London's low. We'll see if that's where it wants to trade to, or if it finds some support and continues higher. We have the opening bell coming in about 7 minutes, so we'll figure that out at that time. Wow. We can already see all the session highs, London high and low already traded to, Asia high and low already traded to. So when at 10 o'clock, we'll get the New York's high and low, and we'll then start monitoring those session highs and lows. Moving over to NQ. Okay. 18,626 seems to be the high that was created. 627 and 3/4. Previous high was 28, so came within a tick of all-time high, and then started to trade lower. So we'll see if that's an indication of going higher later to take that value or not. I do want to point out that there's a sizable gap right here without any activity. So this is likely the opening gap whenever I pull up the opening gap indicator. Yep, so there it is, the opening gap. When you're on the daily and you see those, that's generally what you're looking at. You're looking at the new day opening gap forming. So we'll make sure that we keep an eye on that level for the day. That usually that's a level that price wants to trade to, and it'll either become a support or resistance for price at that time. Usually that middle value is also a key level. So we'll watch that as we trade today. Let's get down to all right, in about 30 minutes, we have a potential gap created here on the 1 hour. So we'll look and see if there's a bullish fair value gap between the 7 o'clock and the current hourly candle. So we'll see where the opening bell takes us and whether there is still a gap right here, because that also, this would be just below where the new week open, or the new week opening gap is where we are right now. The gap from Sunday, we potentially have a fair value gap being created in this area. And as I just highlighted and pointed out, we have the new day opening gap right here, highlighted in green, but I also highlighted in blue. And so there's several areas here. So I don't want to scare anyone, but we could potentially, if we get trapped in here, then we may consolidate for a bit. But if we could stay above, like maybe if this is a bullish fair value gap and we can trade into it and get above this new week opening gap, then we could see some bullish momentum today. But first things first, we need to see the opening bell and get the opening range, and then we'll go from there. So that's in about just under 3 minutes. I will drop it down to the 5-minute as we get ready for the opening bell, and I will move over to the chat and say good morning. All right, Brian. Good morning, Brad. It's healthy. Crab. Black Phoenix. Sniper. Good morning, everyone. Molly. Chuck. All right, so Asia high is gone. Asia low is gone. London low is also gone. London high. Okay, so we don't have any session highs on this one either. So let's drop this indicator. We'll come back at 10 and we'll pull the New York high and low. In fact, it's likely to be the lows, unless we get something crazy happening at the opening bell. The low is likely to be here at 211. So I'll go ahead and just mark that. Consequent encroachment of the hourly wick. I remember marking it up yesterday. We never made it there. And this is the Monday London high / all-time high, still open, still available. And as of right now, we'll see. This is likely our New York high. Excuse me. Hey, okay, here we are at opening bell. Week opening gap first is where it goes. See if it rejects out of it, it's able to go through. We have the midnight and the 8:30 open, about 10 points away from one another. The test of the new week opening gap came up, it was rejected out, put in a long wick, and now it's back there again. Oh man, Brad. Well, not every day is going to break the bank. 2 contracts up 50 handles. Wow. All right, Black Phoenix, that's amazing. Yeah, Friday does retrace 20% of the weekly candle. That is typically when it's at the extreme, so it's at the either high or the low of the week on Friday. So we need to just make sure we're at the high of the week today, and then potentially that's going to happen. Way you go. Good morning, Manuel. Good morning, España. All right, good to have you. I know you're probably, oh geez, 7. It's probably 4 in the afternoon for you. 4:30. All right, so we did get a trade above the new week opening gap and a close above, and the very next candle so far is trading below. I just removed the new week opening gap just to clear the screen a bit. I'm also going to drop this Fibonacci. Well, we have a long bias, so we're looking for longs today. Um, but I wanted to let this first 30 minutes here run and see how price is printing, and also want to monitor the US dollar and see where it is. I saw that it definitely made the low that I was hoping it would do. It was moving in the right direction. It's right now pulling back, which is, I mean, it's fine. It needs to pull back at some point after the expansion that it just made last hour. So hopefully next hour, I'm expecting everything to resume back to the bias that we're holding. So I'm still holding a bullish bias for equity markets today, unless I get a different signal from from price action. So I'll reevaluate in about 20 minutes. Good morning, Tommy. We'll go ahead and let's take a look at the other equities and just see how they're aligned this morning. All right, we have USD on the left. So this is exactly what I was hoping it would do. And As I mentioned, it's now retracing, so it's creating this bearish fair value gap. So even into next hour, we may still see some retracement into this area, but we're expecting for that to then reject and continue downwards. But if you look over at Dow, we see the Dow is currently slightly bullish for the hour. And then if we look to the far right at Nasdaq, Nasdaq is doing completely the opposite. And we do expect those two to run together. And so part of the waiting game that I'm doing is allowing them to realign. All right, and I do see that yesterday at 1600, we had that meltdown after we got off the session at around 415 to 420. I see the ES has swept that low this morning prior to pushing up, and we have not gotten that far on Nasdaq. Okay, let's switch back over. Yes, crab. So if US dollar is selling, then it's good for equities to be bullish. We expect them to move in the opposite direction. That's a great question. Let's see. But you know, markets. Oops, sorry about that. All right, here we go. This All right, so here we are on E-mini Nasdaq 100 futures. And if we drop down, we can see still here for March the 8th, majority of the volume here is still on the March contract, actually. Okay, so it's only updated through yesterday. But yes, majority of the volume is still here on the March contract. Whenever the June contract has more volume, then I'll flip over. It generally takes a day or two after the continuous contract flips. I think the continuous contract flips over today or Monday. So I'll just continue to monitor this every day until the volume is higher on June contract, and then I'll flip. So that's how I determine which contract to trade, whichever one has more volume. Oh, okay. Got it. Thank you, Sniper. Appreciate it. Trackologist, welcome. Good morning. All right, let me just click back over so you can see where the Dow and S&P are at the moment. You see these two. Let me remove my photo. The Dow is just running. We have E-mini S&P doing the same thing, heavily bullish at the current moment, and we're still kind of struggling to get there on Nasdaq. It may flip in the next minute or so, but we're definitely behind. So as I mentioned, until they're aligned, currently on the sideline, not necessarily looking for a setup. And as of right now, it looks like NQ is the weaker of the three. So if it doesn't catch up soon, then we'll most likely only use NQ today if we're looking for something bearish. But bullish setups most likely flip to S&P. It's still early though. We still have another 12 minutes. No problem, Vivian. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I thought about it earlier in the week, and then this morning it didn't even cross my mind. Sniper interlong from 15, fair value gap. I had my stop, and it never got hit. Make daily pay with me. What are you looking for? You just want to know how much is a contract worth? Is that all you're looking for? Yeah, so what you have is you have minis and you have micros, and micros is 1/10 of a mini. What I have on the screen here is the minis. For Nasdaq, every point is worth 20 US dollars. And every point is divided into 4 ticks. So you'll see 310.00, 310.25, 310.50, 310.75, and then you get to 311. So every point is divided into 4 ticks. Every tick is worth $5 on Nasdaq minis. Now, if you go down to the micros, it's going to be even less than that. So every point is worth $2. Every tick is worth 50 cents. And that's just on Nasdaq. If you go to S&P, every point is worth $50. Right. Let me see if there's an easy way to find it. I think you can find it here on TradingView. You know what, Vivian, you know what? I just found something that says the last trade for the March contract is March 15th. So it looks like next Friday is the end of this contract. Topstep's trailing drawdown is, so essentially let me just pull up an example. Yeah, so okay. So let's just use the 50,000 account as an example. So you have 50K and you have a profit target of 3,000. So you need to get to 53,000 to pass the challenge. And you have a maximum drawdown of 2,000. So you can go as low as 48,000 before you fail, right? So you start at 50. Let's say you make 1,000 that first day. Now your account balance is at 51,000 at the end of the day. So they wait until the end of the day. So all the trading that happens during the day, it doesn't really matter until whatever you close at 4:10 p.m. You can't make any more trades. So every day your trades have to be closed by 4:10 p.m. At that time, they will then take the balance of your account, and that becomes your balance for that day, right? And let's say you made $1,000 that first day. So now you're at 51,000. So now what they do is they still leave you at the maximum drawdown of $2,000. So you can no longer go down to 48,000. Now your maximum, you will fail your challenge if you get below 49,000 because it's 2,000 less than your current balance of 51. Let's say the next day you make another 1,000. So now you're at 52. Now your maximum drawdown, it's still $2,000. And it's now, you cannot go below 50. 50, if you remember, was your original balance. You started at 50,000 your first day. Okay, so now that you're at the original balance, now your maximum drawdown does not change anymore. So let's say you had passed your challenge because it has the same rules, and you get up to 52. Let's say you're at the next day you make $500. So now you're at 52,500. Well, once you reach 50,000, which was your original balance, your maximum drawdown doesn't slide anymore. It stays at 50. So you can make as much as you want now, and as long as you don't go below 50,000, your account is still in good standing. So what it does is whatever your maximum drawdown is, and for the 50,000 account is $2,000. Once you make your first 2,000, and your maximum drawdown is now at your original balance, it doesn't slide anymore. It stays there. And so you can make 50,000. Your account balance can be at 100, and your account is still in good standings as long as you have more than 50. So it's a way of kind of like them moving their stop loss on you. You're using their funding to make money. And once you make 2,000, they move their stop loss to break even, essentially. And then you trade from there. It's kind of how it is. Yes, it's calculated on your equity, and it only updates at the end of the day. It doesn't. So if you make $1,000 on a trade in the morning, it won't update. It'll wait until you get to your end of day balance. I hope I didn't confuse you too much. Okay, so we have now all-time high on NQ. So it looks like it's now starting to catch up, which is what I was hoping it would do. There goes. Well, actually, let me bring this back. We'll just shift it for the New York high, but we can get rid of this one. All right, we're coming up on the close of the hour in about 30 seconds. Yeah, you're right. ES has definitely been pushing all week, similar to what Nasdaq did. Because remember, I don't know if you remember, back in January, Nasdaq achieved its all-time high probably 10 days or so before ES. So I think ES is just catching up now. First, second out the gate, New York high swept. So now the only session high or low that's available is the New York low, which was essentially the low created from NFP. It's all the way down at 211, essentially. Give us some potential targets to reach for. All-time high territory. There's really nothing previous to today that we can use. No, not. They're not taken out exact every day when they're made. No, I don't know if you remember, but yesterday we had highs from Tuesday. All three highs from Tuesday were still available. So whenever you get a essentially a big move in London, a lot of times you'll leave either the low or the high will still be available. And if New York continues, unless it has a heavy pullback, it's going to leave those values of like, let's say it's a big bullish day, the lows are most likely going to still be open. And that's what we had the other day. It was the highs, and then we swept those highs yesterday, and we only left the one, which was New York's high from Monday, which was also the all-time high. That was one we just passed just recently. So let me see if I can find this on the hourly. Okay, so here was Tuesday. Right, so the London session is between 2 and 5. Okay, so this one was swept. The Asia session is 8 and 12. Okay, so this is a good example. So here we had the Asia high Monday evening set, and you can see afterwards it just traded down, and we didn't take Asia's high from Monday until yesterday morning at 10. And so it doesn't always get taken, but I'll leave it on the screen because it does come back to get it at some point. In this case, it just took 2 days of trading to come back. Yeah, Khalid, if we keep going, then yes, we can possibly get a TGIF this afternoon. We can look for that. JR, good morning. Funny. Now we have the opposite going on. Now we have, so far, the start of this hour, the first 10 minutes, we have a Dow pulling back. Remember, it was heavily bullish before the other two last hour. And now it's pulling back from the range a little bit. And we have S&P and Nasdaq still pushing a little bit to start this hour. And the dollar is buying as I expected it to. I thought that it would buy up a little bit and maybe hit that fair value gap, the bearish one, and then start selling off. Yeah, you may be wondering why the screen is so clean. Well, I'm in an all-time high territory. All PD arrays are below. So all fair value gaps, all new week opening gaps, all that stuff is below us. Got a 50% retracement. Oh, on a candle body? Possibly. It depends. Let's measure this last leg. All right, let's see if it finally hits this half a standard deviation above this last pullback leg. So it has crossed. I'll go ahead and put this in. Again, that leg was measured from here, top to bottom. Pullback leg, essentially a double move, so equal size. Hey, Queen, good morning. Welcome. right, so the dollar now has finally made it to the fair value gap, and now I'm checking to see how it's going to react since it's there. Let me just pop that up on the screen for a moment. You can see here, it's digging into the gap here. Right. I know we gotten our bearings a little bit. Dow is definitely selling off faster than the other equities. We have S&P now flirting with the idea of becoming bearish so far for the hour. Nasdaq's pulling back about half of its progress this hour. So I would say we're probably getting ready to pull back on these other two as well, especially since the dollar is showing a strong candle this hour. It's almost at the consequent encroachment or mean threshold of this fair value gap here. So we'll see how it reacts at the midpoint. If it pushes all the way through, then we may have to reevaluate what we are expecting for the rest of the session. Okay, it didn't quite make it there, and it's starting to show some weakness right now. All right, I'm gonna move back over to Nasdaq. Which move are you looking for, Sniper? Oh, from the 15 fair value gap. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that would have been, if you were still holding, that would have been a 100-point move there. All right, I think I'll turn the fair value gaps back on. Oops. Chart as well as hourly, just because there aren't any hourly fair value gaps up here. We're uncharted territory right now, literally uncharted territory. No need to play background music. Sorry. But if you like music, you can play it on your end. Not to mention, you can't play any type of music that anyone's familiar with. It's copyrighted, so you can't play any of that. So yeah. Yep, standard deviations of the markers that I have up here. Just there's no fair value gaps or anything like that. So not on the 1 hour. So I went and pulled back the fair value gaps on the 5 minutes. So at least we have something to look at when we see price retracing or any of those kind of activities. Beauty. At the conclusion of this hour, it looks like there might be a fair value gap around 380 around this area here. So maybe in around 30 minutes, we'll have a PD array to look at. Oh, okay. I got it. Okay. I have my next level marked up here at 460. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 461. We're starting to see a little retracement on the hour for all the indices. I mean, the Dow has still been selling the entire hour. It's not even slowing down. But I do see E-mini S&P as well as NQ just kind of pausing for a moment. Not necessarily retracing the way the Dow is, but definitely holding off on the expansion. And so far, we did get the rejection out of the bearish fair value gap for the dollar. So I'm hopeful that it'll continue its bearish sentiment and continue putting in lower prices. Oh, TJ, what's up? Good morning. Okay, so we did have a swing low here broken. Swing low, that's right here. All right, let's see if this is going to be a short-lived bearish push, or if we're going to continue back down to somewhere around the opening of the opening bell, somewhere around the 9:30 open. Okay, in about 10 minutes, we'll have our 10:50 to 11:10 macro coming. Uh, 82. Let me just measure this and see what type of retracement we're experiencing right now. Okay, so we did get a retracement back to 50%. Not only 50%, but to this cluster that was traded above, leading to the second leg of this bullish momentum here. So we did trade down to right, almost to the tick of the candle bodies here. That's weird because somebody mentioned this morning that there was potentially an issue with Topstep as well. So I don't know if there's something going on with all the servers. Oh, good morning. Lakune. Good morning. All right, let's go ahead and drop the Fibonacci now. So we can see now we are definitely experiencing a proper pullback here, or a proper retracement. We've traded back down into the fair value gap here. Again, this is on the 5-minute. So now if it's ready to go and attack these highs, it has done enough for retracement in order to do so. We do have, in about 2 minutes, we'll have the macro period, which generally is when there's a set of instructions for price to move towards a pool of liquidity. And so maybe that's the time that's going to happen. The macro starts in 2 minutes. Well, 2.5 minutes. And before that happens, I'm going to run and get another cup of coffee. So just bear with me for a moment. Right, just in time. Okay, we're in the macro now. Let's see where price wants to go. Oh, at 1050, what we look for, changes in state of delivery. So market structure shifts. If you have a breaker already drawn that it hasn't traded to, you look for it to trade into the breaker during that time. If it's already traded into the breaker previously and you're in a trade, you look for it to draw towards your target. So for instance, we have equal highs right here. Right. So this was the breaker that really sent price up that I missed this morning. I didn't even see it, which is right here. Frank, there's a video link, and if you go into the Discord, there's a video link in there about macros. Wow. Oh man. Okay. So I wasn't aware of the issues with network issues or server issues and those things. Wow. Anyone else experiencing the same type of issues with their broker or with their internet access? Yeah, so far it's showing that it's rejecting that 1035 candle. Okay, so it came out and tapped. Let's see if it runs now. Exactly to that level. Okay, a little further. Okay, we had equal lows here taken already, or within range. I thought it was taken. Not quite. Still equal lows within range. We have $72. I see. I see. Okay. think we are hitting the 20% retracement on the full weekly range. Yeah, it could kick out the New York low down at 211. That's definitely possible. Move back up to the 5-minute here. No longer in the macro. All right, we'll see if the midnight open is able to hold. We see a trade back above and a close, but price is heavily bearish at the moment, so I don't expect that to hold. And as I say it, there it goes. I think as we continue bearish, the next price point to pay attention to would be if you look at the 830 wick, the wick of this candle here when the news was announced, consequent encroachment of that wick will be the next place to pay attention to and see how price reacts when it gets there. We're right around that area now. Wait and see how price wants to react here. Step out a bit into the 15. Just see more historical prices. No, Queen. I don't know. Struggling, really honestly struggling to focus this morning. Okay, I'll go and check that out. Appreciate it, Shark. No. It's not the live stream. No, I didn't. I didn't sleep well last night. It's had my smoke alarm in my house kept going off, and it's a weird night. And so I was late this morning getting going, late getting my coffee going. So it was just everything this morning started off wrong for me. $200 drop in under 30 minutes. Sorry, not quite. About 150 points. Yeah, Khaled, this is typical of either NFP or FOMC, these type of things happen, where you'll see a huge drop, or you'll see, like we saw this morning, you'll see price move in both directions, about an equal distance very quickly. And that's why it's advisable that you protect yourself on these days due to the volatility in price. But if you're on side, you can see how good it can be for you. All right, there goes the New York low. So now all session highs and lows are gone for the week. At least, okay, take that back. New York low from yesterday is still open. London low from also yesterday. Then outside of that, it's, yeah, several weeks ago. At least we're getting back into the area where we have some price action to look at for comparison purposes, or to target or look for PD arrays. Yep. So in this case, it looks like this. Yep. So you had all your accumulation and then your manipulation up, and now it looks like distribution down. Hmm. All right, Shark took care of that. Thanks for letting me know that was happening. I accidentally clicked on the subject heading and I didn't realize it was open. There we go. All right. 23 votes. Only 23 votes. All right. So I guess most people are not trading or not in a position to vote. Looks like we're about half and half on a quarterly contract and a continuous. Yeah, I noticed the continuous contract flipped over today where we're having values of about 230, 240 point variance. All right, Sniper, take care. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Sniper, I was concerned. I was looking around, didn't know what you were talking about. Okay. Marty, hey, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but I mean, prices, it's going one direction. So it's it's clearly bearish here. Now, if you're asking me what's the next 30 minutes going to look like, that I don't know. Okay, cool. Just wanted to get an idea of what people were trading, just to know how different your chart's going to look than mine. So it probably won't look too differently, that much differently, but what you're going to have is just different values. So if I call out any values, it won't make sense to you if you're on a continuous contract until I flip over, which will likely be sometime into next week. Yeah, usually probably what happens is during lunch, price will seek some level of liquidity. And so if we just had this huge bearish move just before lunch, there's going to be a lot of open fair value gaps on the way down. And so it'll trade into a couple of those. And then this afternoon, we'll see if it continues or if it reverses or if we get a consolidation. But during lunch, a lot of times that's what you'll get. I'm going to stick with the quarterly contracts, but I'll flip over to June when it's time for it. When the I'm sorry, when the volume increases, when it's more volume on the June contract than the March contract. And right now, the March contract still has more volume, even though the continuous contract flipped over. I took a look this morning. I pulled up here, and we have right here. It says the March contract last trade is March 15th, which is next Friday. So between now and next Friday, the June contract will start having more volume, and then I'll flip it over. but it looks like the continuous contract flipped over today. But if you're looking for the next quarterly contract, the letter is M. So just replace the H with an M and you'll get the June contract. Yeah, last month I took a look and it was only about a day difference. So if the continuous contract flipped today, then on Monday I'll check it again, and if the volume is higher, then I'll switch. And then next Friday, the March contract will freeze, so you won't have an option. All right, let's go ahead and shift down to a lower time frame here. All right, if you're looking for shorts, you're probably going to want something like this to break those equal highs and then go down. And if you're looking for a long, you're probably looking for a new low and a new high, and then a trade back in and then go higher. And that is good news for your short. You're right. Dollar is pushing up. Heavy too. Yeah, that fair value gap may be in trouble. We'll know more in about 11 minutes, but it definitely looks like it's in trouble. It's traded through the entire range. We'll just want to see where it closes. Okay, NQ finally swept that low that S&P swept earlier that I pointed out. Let me quickly jump back down to that. So this morning, I pointed out that S&P had swept the low from that 1600 drop yesterday, right after the session ended. But NQ had only traded to about half of it and started buying up. Well, now we've also swept that area, same level. And the Dow didn't really sell off after hours yesterday, so it didn't really matter. Oh, cool, calm. Good morning. What's going on? No, I am not. No, because if you think about how TGIF is structured, we already had a TGIF. We're in the middle of it now. In fact, it sold off even more than that. So yeah, it's already happened. In fact, this hour is what it's been. That's what it's been doing. So I don't know if it's going to continue, but it definitely already retraced about 30% of the weekly range, and that was the maximum you could expect on a TGIF, anywhere from 20 to 30. Yeah, we're approaching 40% retracement just this hour from the weekly range. So yes and no. Yes, and it's already happened. So no more, nothing for the afternoon. Hey, now we're in the macro. Let's see which direction price wants to go, whether we get a sweep of these lows and then we see a displacement up, which will then give us some sort of indication that it's going to trade back into some of this bearish momentum during lunch. Or does it come up now, sweep these highs, and then we get a push afterwards to sweep these lows, and we're going to continue bearish? So we'll take a look. We'll know something in about 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, sometimes the TGIF, even though it's Friday, it doesn't wait until 2 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I've seen it happen at 10 or 11 in the morning before. So it's if you're looking for that setup, it's something that you want to start scouting at the very beginning of the New York session. So as soon as the opening bell happened and that closes out, if you think that TGIF may happen that day, you start scouting it at that point. The 1030 high. Let's see, where's the 1030 high? Oh, that's, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't I wouldn't put any money on that one. Not with how bearish everything is moving now. Um, Now there could be some buying up. Like we could definitely go back up to the midnight open, trade down. We could even trade higher than that and get up in this range. But yeah, I'm not. I don't think we'll be going for all-time highs again this afternoon. But I mean, anything's possible. But I wouldn't put my money on it. But keep in mind, from where we are now, that's 250 points. So there's a lot of wiggle room in between, a lot of trading, a lot of opportunity to still make some money. Yeah, the market is moving a lot. Volatility is, as a trader, that's all you're looking for, and because that's how you make trades. What the levels are and where it goes is not as important, but yes, volatility is what you're looking for, and the market is definitely doing that. I saw someone on Twitter the other day mention the first week of March is had better price action than what they perceived from all of January and all of February. So potentially this could be the start of a new trend where we're seeing a lot of volatility, which gives us a lot of 100-point runs. In between 100 and 200-point runs, you can carve out a good 40, 50, 60 points pretty easily. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're right about that, Ray. Let's see what the lunch hour brings us. I mean, we have equal highs here, but it's not a lot of things to go and grab. I mean, it can always trade back up, but it's not a huge reason to do so right now. But if the next hourly sort of lunch hour doesn't trade up, then there's going to be a huge fair value gap there, which at some point price will want to trade into. So it'll be interesting to see what we get during 12 o'clock. Okay, so far nothing during the macro. We have a high and a low. We want to see where it goes first. I'll go ahead and put those back on the chart. There we go. Yeah, Ray, I was looking at the daily, and that was what I was thinking as well, especially with the rejection we just got from that high. Because one thing it's doing and pulling back is making sure there's no BISI to support price on the daily. So if it goes and closes, and it just made sure that by reaching the high of what's that Wednesday's candle. So yeah, I can definitely see how we go and we sweep those lows from Wednesday of the 28th, 29th, and then on Tuesday, March 5th. We have those equal lows there. I can definitely see price moving to that range and seeing where it goes from there. Yes, yeah, I knew there was a practice account. Yep, absolutely. And it has the same rules, so you can practice with the same set of rules where you have a maximum drawdown and all that. Follow, no problem. No problem. Good afternoon to you as well. Oh, Queen. So you have a practice account with your evaluation, so you can always switch over to practice account if while you're in your evaluation. Like, let's say you hit your maximum drawdown for the day. If you made a bad trade and you can only um, you can only draw down $1,000 for the day, so your account, is essentially suspended until tomorrow's trading day. So you can just switch over um, to your demo account through Topstep, or I'm assuming Apex has the same thing, and you can trade that way, and you still have the same drawdown rules and the same all those things. So it's usually a good idea to do that. When I paper trade, I usually go back to TradingView just because I like their paper trading a little easier. But I, I have been known to use a practice account on Topstep as well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just it gives you the ability to continue trading is I think what they're saying. But no, you can't pass your evaluation through the practice account. All right. Yeah, looks like we're just going to get a little consolidation during this macro period here. So not a lot going on. Hasn't swept the high or the low, just trading in between the range, and the range is not even that large. Well, I'll take that back. It is. It's 80 points between these 6 candles. I thought it wouldn't have been that large since we're on the 1 minute, but bigger than I thought. Oh, wow. Just now looking at the clock. All right, everyone. Sorry about that. I am going to end the stream here. Have a good lunch, and we'll see each other at 1300. If you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the notification, and I'll see you at 1300. Take care, everyone.